Hey everyone, Steve here for Who Took My Dice Miniature Wargaming, and welcome to the fifth and final installment in my look at the Index Imperialis Inquisition Index. Today we're going to be looking at the telepathic discipline, the relics, and the warlord traits of the Inquisition. Here. Alright, so this is the fifth and final part of my Warriors of the Grimdark series, looking at the Inquisition Index. So I'm going to dive right into the Warlord traits, and then we'll get into the other stuff afterwards. So, if your character obviously is, your Inquisitor is a Warlord, or uses one strategy to get Warlord traits, this is what you get. There's 6 of them together, 3 general ones, and 3, each one specifically each one looking at a specific orders. So first one is Radical. Once per battle, you can reroll 1 hit roll, wound roll, damage roll, saving throw, psychic test, or deny the witch test made for this warlord. It's a pretty nice one, actually. Probably not the best one, but it does let you have that reroll at a crucial moment. 2, Puritan. Improve the warlord's invulnerable save by 1 to a maximum of 3+. It's not bad. Basically giving your Inquisitor a 4+, or a 4+, or even a 3+ invulnerable save, depending on the character you use, or the warlord trait they have. Formidable Resolve is the third one. Add 1 to this warlord's leadership characteristic, increasing the range of his warlord's Inquisition wisdom ability to 6 inches. By 6 inches. So you get a leadership 10 character who everyone within 12 inches can use as leadership, which is a really great way to hold your lines if necessary. Then we go to the Ordo Hereticus one. No escape. This warlord can perform a heroic intervention if there are any enemy units within 6 inches of them instead of 3, and when doing so, he can move up to 6 inches instead of 3 inches. When an enemy unit within 1 inch of this warlord has chosen to fall back, you can roll 1d6 unless any models in that unit have a minimum move characteristic. On a 4+, that unit cannot fall back. Which is pretty nice. Keep a unit trapped and pummel them some more if necessary. Ordo Xenos, Esoteric Lore. Whilst this warlord is on the battlefield, roll 1d6 each time your opponent uses a stratagem. On a 5+, you gain a command point. That's great for smaller games. It's especially great if you're trying to make Inquisitor only force, because you'll be very limited on how many command points you'll be able to build up, and it's a great way to get them back. Very good. That's a really good one. It's especially good if you use the other stratagem they had there. If I go back to it now, where did it go? C's for interrogation, because you can gain D3 command points if you use that. Use it properly. So I mean, the ability to get command points is crucial. We have Ordo Malleus Psychic Mastery. While the warlord knows one additional psychic power from the Telethesia discipline, which we'll finally get to. And you can attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power in your psychic phase, and attempt to deny 1 additional psychic power in your opponent's psychic phase. That's actually really, really good. A great way it allows you to use your psychic powers more, deny them more, and you get more power. I mean, what's wrong with that? That's a good one to use. Now, if you have use one of the named characters, they actually have one. So Eisenhorn has the Radical one. Makes sense. Great Fax has no escape from the Ordo Hereticus. See, the Great Fax is weird. I think it's maybe a typo somewhere. In here, she has an Ordo Hereticus power. Her stat line, you can find it now, is Ordo Hereticus, but in the fluff, they say she's Ordo Xenos, and they have her fighting Necrons around the realm of Ultramar, which is a bit weird to me, but apparently, according to this, she is Ordo Hereticus. Inquisitor Karamazov has Formidable Resolve, so you're boosting his leadership, so that would make him leadership 11. And his Unquestionable Wisdom is now 12 inches out, which is really nice. And of course, Inquisitor Cotias has Psychic Mastery, which means that if we go to Cotias, he has 2 psychic powers, so now he can manifest 3. And he can deny 2, and he has not just Smite and 1 other power, but now he has 3 powers to choose from. This is pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. So those are the Warlord traits. All pretty good, some better than others. I'll let you guys figure that out. So now we go to the Telethesia Discipline. There are 6 of them that are, the randomly drawn ones, and there are 3 for each one of the Ordos. So you have Terrify. It's a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select 1 enemy unit within 18 inches of visible to Psyker and visible Psyker. Until the start of your next phase, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of that model, and the unit cannot fire Overwatch. That is awesome for taking on Tau, those little buggers with their Overwatch. It's great. It's another way of lowering the leadership. Combined with some other abilities, it's very nasty. Psychic Fortitude has a warp charge of 4. If manifested, select 1 friendly Imperium unit with a 12-inch Psyker until the start of your next psychic phase. When a morale test is taken for that unit, do not roll a dice. It automatically passes. A great way to keep it's any Imperium unit. It's a great way to keep a unit in the battle if you need to, if you need the line to hold, or you just need something not to make it through. Perfect. It's great. Dominate as the third one, has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select 1 enemy model with a 12-inch Psyker and is not a vehicle, and roll 3d6. The total is equal to or greater than the model's leadership characteristic. The model can immediately shoot with 1 weapon as if it was your shooting phase, or make 1 attack if it was your fight phase. In either case, treat that model as if it were a separate unit as part of your army while shooting or making a close combat attack. So basically, you get to take over a unit. It's great. You have a unit of, say, Havocs about to rain death with those fantastic chain guns of theirs. Oh, I dominate, and I'm going to fire at one of your opponents. You have it fire at one of his own units. Great way to take things out. A Hellblaster squad's giving you a problem. Well, now his buddy's taking it back from his own unit. 4, Mental Interrogation. Mental Interrogation has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select 1 enemy character model with a 12 inches of invisible to Psyker until starting next psychic phase. When resolving attack made by that model, subtract 1 from the hit roll. If your army is Battleforged, roll 3d6. If the result is equal to or greater than the model's leadership characteristic, you gain 1 command point. Again, one that you definitely want to take if you're wanting to build a Inquisitor-only army, because they are going to be low on command points. It's going to be very hard for them to build them up. A great way to keep them going. 5, Psychic Pursuit has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select 1 enemy character or unit that only contains models with a wound characteristic of less than 10 and is within 18 inches and visible to Psyker. Then select 1 friendly Ordo unit within 6 inches of a Psyker. Until the end of the next shooting phase, that Ordo unit can target a character even if it's not the closest enemy unit. Great for taking out those buff characters. The Primaris Lieutenants with the banner, the Primaris Ancient with a banner, Primaris Lieutenants, platoon commanders, what have you. Anything that is able to buff a unit and can hide because it's got 1 wound, it's got less than 10 wounds, and it's sitting there behind a couple enemy units. You take it out, all of a sudden they're not as nasty as they were before. Castigation is number 6. Has a warp value of 6. If manifested, select 1 enemy unit within 18 inches and invisible to Psyker and roll 3d6. If the total exceeds the lowest leadership characteristic in that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. That's pretty nasty. Great way to hit some units that may have lower leadership and just start wiping them out slowly. Now we have the 3 that come from the specific Ordo. So Ordo Hereticus, Ascertainment. Ascertainment has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select 1 enemy unit within 12 inches of Psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, subtract 1 from the attack characteristic of models in that unit to a minimum of 1. Roll 2d6. If the total is equal or greater to the highest leadership characteristic unit, then the unit starts your next until start your next psychic phase. Remember, resolving attack made by a model, and you subtract 1 from the hit roll. So, great if you're up against someone who's got a lot of the melee. You can hit it. All of a sudden, they have -1 attack, and if you roll well enough, they're taking 1 off their attack. So if they're hitting on a 3+, technically now they're hitting on a 4+, right? It's great. It makes them hit less, and it makes them harder. Makes you harder for them to hit, I should say. That's not bad. We have Ordo Xenos, the Psychic Veil. Psychic Veil is warp charge value 5. If manifested until the start of your next psychic phase, friendly Ordo Xenos units within 6 inches of Psyker can only be selected as target of attack if they are the closest visible enemy unit, and can only be selected as a target of charges if they are within 6 inches of the charging unit. So again, just makes you guys harder to hit. So if there's a unit you know your opponent wants to wipe out, use this on them. They're not the closest unit. They're not getting shot at. And the enemy unit has to start within 6 inches. So if they're outside of that, they cannot attack you. Good way to save that unit you need to hold an objective with, or you need in order to blow something away or do some damage. Great way to keep them alive. Excuse me. Ordo Malleus, the last one. Power through knowledge. The Psyker instills learn truths in the minds of their allies to better fight the servants of chaos. I like reading these. Some of these are good. Power through knowledge has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one friendly Imperium infantry or Imperium biker unit within 12 inches of Psyker until the start of next Psyker phase. That models in that unit have a 5+ model save. Another great way to keep your units alive. Especially if this is a great one if the Inquisitor's added on, even if it's not, if it's with just an Inquisitor only army. A great way to keep that unit of intercessors from being damaged if they're holding a line. It's a great way to keep that a platoon on objective, or keep them in the fight a little bit longer. They all of a sudden have a vulnerable save. They're going to last a little bit longer. And last but not least, we're going to dive into the relics of the Inquisition, the cool little bits and pieces they've collected over the millennia. So again, if you're a Warlord, you get to take this. You can give it to an Inquisition character model in an army. Named characters and vehicles cannot be given any following relics. All right, you have the Blade of the Ordo. Right? Inquisitor model equipped with a power sword only. The relic replaces a power sword and has a falling profile. So it's range melee, type melee, strength +1, AP -3, and damage 3. Okay, the ability is where it's cool. When resolving attack made with a weapon against a unit is specified by the bearer's query ability. The weapon has a damage characteristic for that attack. So if, say, your query is demon, you happen to be going up a chaos space from your army mixed with a demon army, or what have you, and this Inquisitor starts ends up fighting a demon, or say he ends up fighting just a basic Space Marine, damage is D3. He hits a demon, it's now 3 permanently all the time. It's really nice because you get those bonus rerolls against the quarry. Excuse me. Digital weapons. I like this one. This is a throwback. Inquisitor model only. When a model with this relic fights, it can make 1 additional attack using the close combat weapon profile. When resolving attack, if a hit is scored and a target suffers 1 mortal wound and the attack sequence ends. Now it's a great additional attack. You attack with whatever weapon you have, then you use your digital weapon, hopefully get another mortal wound, do that little bit of extra damage, that little coup de grace at the end of the fight. Black Shroud, Inquisitor model only. When resolving attack made against his model with his relic, subtract 1 from the wound roll. Great way to keep your Inquisitor alive a little bit longer, that much harder to hurt. That's a nice little one. Nothing too bad about that one. Ignis Judicium. It's actually an Infernal Pistol. Ordo Hereticus Inquisitor model only. So now we're gone to ones that are specific to an order. Equipped with Infernal Pistol only. The relic replaces an Infernal Pistol and has a falling profile. It's 12-inch range. Pistol 1, strength 8, AP -4, D6. Ouch. Abilities. When a resolving attack made with this weapon against a unit is within half range or has a Chaos or Psyker keyword, roll 2d6 inflicted damage with it and discard one of the results. How this differs from a standard Infernus pistol, just looking up here, basically, when an Inferno pistol, it's usually just the D6, just half range. This adds the Chaos or Psyker keyword as well. So if you're within the 12 inches and it has the Chaos one, but you're not within 6 inches, you still get to use 2d6 and then throw it wherever you want. Or the same as Psyker, you'd be at 10 inches, hit it, and you still get to roll 2d6 because it's a relic. Excuse me, guys. Got a cold, trying to get over it. All right. Bio-corrosive poisons is Ordo Xeno Inquisitor only. When resolving attack made with a melee weapon by a model with a relic against a unit that is not a vehicle or Titanic, or wound roll 2 is always successful. So that's not bad. Bio-corrosive poisons, great against things like Tyranids or anything that's a higher toughness. You're able to hit it, wound it, ruined it effectively, and it works with a melee weapon. So say you take a power sword or something like that, a power axe, you're already getting the AP, now you're wounding on a 2+. So it makes your Inquisitor that much more of a powerhouse. And then you have the Tainted Blade. Now, that's Ordo Malleus Inquisitor only. Model equipped with a power sword only. The relic will place the power sword as a following profile. Range and type are melee, obviously. Strength +3. AP -3. Damage 1. Alright, the abilities. In the fight phase, when the bearer is chosen to fight with for the first time that phase, roll 1d6. On roll 1, the bearer suffers 1 mortal wound. His weapon cannot be used that phase. So it's like almost like Drakden back in the day. It's either going to help you or hurt you. When resolving attack made with this weapon, if the saving throw has failed, you can make 1 additional attack against the same unit using this weapon. This additional attack cannot generate another attack. So if I swing at you with 3 attacks and manage to wound you, I get an extra attack. Say I do 3 damage, you roll 3 dice, and 1 fails, so I get an extra attack. Say 2 of them fail, I get 2 extra attacks. Right? I can't generate more attacks from those, but I do get these extra attacks at strength 6, AP -3, damage 1. Even at strength 6, that's doing some damage. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That's going through. I'm not going to go through all the weapons. They have pretty much the same standard weapons as most Imperial armies. And there are a few special things we've already been over some of those. But yeah, so that is my look at the Index Imperialis, the Inquisition Index there. I know it's an old white dwarf from November. It's fantastic to see the Inquisition get a solid listing again. You get all the cool stuff in there. There's some things like Death Cult Assassins and all those other units that they had in older books. They've all been rolled into the Acolyte. Again, with the Death Cult Assassin, you just give the Acolyte a power weapon. He's got a bolt pistol or a last pistol and a power weapon now. Generally, you don't want more of these listings in elite units. They don't have any troops, like I said. Now, going in on that particular piece, from my perspective, what they think Games Workshop has done here is said, here's your Inquisition. It would be better to use them as an add-on to your army. A lot of it seems to be geared that way. You can, as I said, build an Inquisition-only army. You're kind of stuck with basically one build, and that is the Vanguard detachment. So your HQ and a bunch of elites. So you can take your Inquisitor, you're only allowed 1 anyways, and you can fill up your elites with, say, Acolytes. Maybe a Jakar Weaponsmith and, say, 3 units of Acolytes, all maxed out to 6. That would be the basis of your army. Again, you can kind of build them any way you want. You could have a unit that's all just shooting, one that's more built for close combat, one that does a little bit of both. And then you'd have to take another Vanguard detachment. Again, with that one, you're only getting 4 command points. I mean, that's enough to fire off your cyclonic missile stratagem once, and that's it. You could build another one and, say, make that a Radical Inquisitor. He's him and, say, 3, you take Eisenhorn and 3 Demon Hosts, right? Or, take a group of Acolytes and a Demon Host and have that other one through his ability. Again, you get 1 more command point. And then, obviously, on that, you'd want to use a stratagem where you build more command points. Take the Psychic Power lets you get more command points. All this stuff to try and keep them building up while you're building this smaller Inquisitor power. And even though the fluff sort of is built towards saying Inquisitors don't work well together, use one on its own, but you can still build one. I'm actually would be intrigued to see a full Inquisitor army. I'd love to build one myself if I had the time. Who knows? I would definitely try and go for that Inquisitor who's a little up on himself, thinks he's really special, and have just a mini army for himself, right? Lots of, as many Acolytes as I could take. Definitely a Weaponsmith to boost them, to help them out. Probably not a Demon Host. I'm not big on using demons. I don't like them. But yeah, definitely build that Inquisitor's got his own personal army. I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you very much for watching this series. It's something I haven't ever really done, making a full series with part one. I mean, I've done it a few times with builds, but they're usually 3-parters that are just sort of showing steps. This is going bit by bit. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Keep rolling those dice. Bye.